Good morning, everyone. This is Becky here at Aunt Beck's Creations, and this is my second weekly update and another hashtag Friday Sews. Um, hashtag Friday Sews was brought about by Jen at Today in Jen's Sewing Room to get the sewing community together, and it has really worked well. And I want to thank Jen for putting this out there as a possibility for everybody that sews to do this each Friday. Now, I am going to do a really quick update because it's going to be in the 90s again, and I want to get out and get my yard mowed. But sewing first. What you see here was the very first 4 dresses that I made using Butterick 3331. That's this little dress here. And I made size 1, and I made 4 of those. So those were my first ones. Now, last week, I was sharing the ones that I was going to work on this week, and I have completed another 4 dresses. So that's 8 total so far. So I've already doubled what I was able to do last year, and I'm halfway to the amount I did in the first year. The first year I did 15 dresses, and then last year I only did 4 because I got that horrible sickness. And so let's go through the ones I've done this week. The very first one I made was from a thrifted pattern. I have been finding the best patterns for Project Dress a Girl in the thrift stores. So this is Simplicity 1379A, and I got it at the thrift store for 99 cents. The only view that would not work for Project Dress a Girl is the View A bodice because it has buttons at the shoulders. So I just will avoid that bodice. I will use the bodice from the other dresses, and then you can just put that pocket on one of these other dresses. You can mix and match bodices is basically what I'm trying to say. So the one I made with this is kind of a combination of C and B. So the two that the little girls are wearing right here, I took the little sleeve pieces and put them on this dress, and I didn't put any decorative buttons. Hi, Vicky. So here's the one from that pattern. It's got these awesome side pockets. They're huge. They go all the way around the hip area. So some little girl will be able to put lots of treasures in this one. It's supposed to have a little button up here, but this little wedge is so small, I don't think you need a button. I think it just needs to be there so they can get it over their head, and that it's not going to gape enough where it'll fall off their shoulders. So I'm not going to put anything back there. It is lined with the polka dot, and then I handmade this piping using the dot fabric that's inside. And what I used for the piping, you guys, I got to thinking, why can't I use the crochet cotton for like dishcloths as my piping? It'll look dainty because it's for a little girl's dress, and it worked beautifully. And since it's 100% cotton, it'll wear just like the dress. But the blue you see is part of the pocket, and you sew this whole big thing into the skirt piece here. I thought it was a very amazing way to add some awesome pockets. So that was the very first one, Simplicity 1379A. Oh, and I will say I am putting with those tiny safety pins I bought in an Amazon haul a while back. I'm just pinning it in here with those tiny safety pins, and it tells size 5 fits a chest of 24 inches. So they kind of know, what size it'll fit for what little girl. So that was my first one for this week. Now, the second one was the pattern that I used the very first year that I did Project Dress a Girl, and that is a McCall's Easy Stitch and Save 2004. And I was contacted by another gal, and she found this on Etsy. And so you can still find it out there. It might cost you a little bit, but this pattern just works up so easy and quick, and it turns out so cute. So that's 2004 McCall's. I will tell you that it is an older pattern. It is from 1999. So here's the one I made this week here. And the facings are made from a remnant as well as the pocket. And the fabric is some that I found at the thrift store not too long ago. The rickrack is thrift store find. And this one I did in a size 6. So it's for a little bit bigger girl. That one was a size 5. This is a size 6. And I just love how this one turns out. It's so easy to do. It's got the V'd back, so you don't need any closures. It'll go over their head and then it'll still stay up. Super easy dress. So we'll put that one back there. All right. The next one is one of the ones that I did last year. And this time I did a combination between the two views. I did the more straight skirt here, but then I put the ruffles from the caps here. And this is a It's So Simple McCall's style L9512. And I will say that I got this at Walmart because it was $4.97. So this is one of theirs that when you go in a Walmart and they've got the patterns just up there, because I don't think Walmart sells like in drawers anymore. I don't remember seeing drawers of patterns. They just have like this little 8-foot section that's got those standing rails, and that's where I got this pattern. Again, this one does not require any buttons or anything. So far, everything I've shown you doesn't require any of the things that they ask you not to do. No buttons, no zippers, no snaps. It can have buttons if they're just decorative buttons. Yeah, I don't think they do the drawers anymore. So I did get this at Walmart. If you look it up on probably Etsy or one of the, there's some sites that sell old patterns. I don't remember the name of that website. So I'm sorry, I just don't. But anyway, here's the dress I made with that. And you're supposed to gather here and then put elastic in the top of the pockets. And I didn't want to do that. So I just sewed them down like this. Because I put a lining in the pockets to make them last longer, I just do a double thickness of the pockets and then turn them right side out. And then I just sew it down. So I didn't do that. I made my own bias tape for the neckline and the armholes here from just some scrap that I had. These little hangers, because this is a size 10 dress, if I remember right. Yeah, size 10 fits a chest of 28 and a half. And I just love it. I thought about adding a ruffle, but I didn't have any more of this rose fabric or this one. Because see, these are all different fabrics. The inside of the pockets is a fabric. The pockets are a fabric. This part's a fabric. That's a fabric. The bias tape. So I'm trying to use what I have. I'm trying not to go out and buy anymore. I'm trying to use what I have and mix and match because I think they'll make fun dresses. And I think little girls will really like, the quirkiness of it. Be prepared. The next dress has a lot of quirk to it. So the final dress I made this last week is the pattern that I fell in love with last year. No buttons, no zips, none of that. Super easy to make. It's Simplicity 9020. Good morning, Nashua. And you can make the bodice part 2 different colors. You can make it a single color. It all depends on how you handle it. And I mixed it up in my head and I sewed the pieces together wrong. So this dress is very quirky. Here it is. That's the front of the dress. Ready? That's the back of the dress. Because I messed up because in my brain I was thinking to get the crossover because it's been a year. I would need to sew the opposing ones together at the shoulders, but you don't. You sew uh, outside fabric to outside fabric at the shoulder seams, and then you do the facing, and that's how you can make it so this side would have been red and this side black, and then on the back it would have been black and red. But I messed up and I sewed the wrong two together, and I was already to the point where I was getting ready to attach it to the skirt, and I said, I am not tearing that all apart. And I think it's kind of fun and quirky to have the back turn red like that. And so the inside is the flowers are on the back of the bodice, and then the red is on the inside of the front. So maybe that'll help a little girl make sure she gets her dress on in the right way. Of course, there's the heart-shaped pockets. This dress did not come with pocket pieces. I used the pockets from the original dress I used because it's got the heart-shaped pockets. And what I did to get placement for this is I took the pattern pieces from this little blue dress and I laid it over the pattern piece for this dress and just marked their pocket placement dots. So I think it's a cute dress, even though it's kind of quirky. So there's that. So that's 8 dresses made for this year. Got my rack out here so I can hang them up. Now, yesterday I had big plans and my back went out before I could finish. I'm moving good this morning, but by the time I finished what I did, what I did is I traced all of the pieces for all of the sizes um, of this dress, except for the bodice A, which was pieces 1 and 2, because I can't use that for Project Dress a Girl. So I didn't take the time to trace and cut them out. So I can make a dress, mix and match bodices and everything for every single size except that view A. So that's what this is. So this is size 8 and then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Because I have sizes 3 to 8 in this pattern. And then this pocket 4, you can use it any way you want to. You can put it on any of the dresses. The only one I wouldn't add the big pocket to is the one that you're using the skirt that's got the huge pockets on the side, like this one here. So that's my plan. After I mow the lawn today, I'm going to come in and cut out a bunch of these in different styles and stuff. Oh, that won't fit in there anymore. I got a project envelope so it can hold all of the pattern pieces. So that's my plan for next week. I will spend today and maybe tomorrow just going through fabric and putting things together that kind of go together. Like I did a lot of mixing on this one. I think this was my favorite dress of this week with the big pockets on the side like this. I think some little girl is going to love that. They're all cute, but I just love those great big pockets. I think they're awesome. And life updates. We found out the car it's still in the shop. I'm without a vehicle this week. I don't know. We're having to get money out of our Roth to pay for these repairs. It just seems like everything comes up at once. And it's going to be about $2,000. But then we got to thinking we can't buy another car for $2,000 that would be worth anything. And this one basically just has some leaks. So they're replacing all of the undercarriage seals, like for the transmission seal, the engine seal. We're getting a new radiator, and yeah, it we're just doing a bunch of leak repair, hoping, cross our fingers, this will give us another year or two with the car that we have. And we still haven't looked into the floor repairs, so we just avoid the areas where we know it's kind of weak. Um, it's a shame that that happened, but that's what happens if you try to keep your house too cold. It causes dry rot in the subfloor, so don't do that. Keep your house 75 or above, because you don't want to have to deal with what we're looking at. They assured us they can repair it from underneath the house. They won't have to come in and kick us out and redo the whole place, which is where my heart went right into my throat when they said that the subfloor had gone. I was thinking, oh my God, you're gonna have to rip my house up. But no, they can repair it from underneath, and we need a dehydrator, not dehumidifier, not dehydrator. We don't need it anymore bad like that. So anyway, that's another thing. Um, my little garden that I had out back was basically just yellow squash and some zucchini and garlic. We harvested the garlic, and the borers have found the vines now. So I need to rip them up and plant something else. I have one bed that's prepared and one that's in the works. That's my garden. But hey, we've had fresh zucchini and fresh yellow squash that I didn't have to buy from really old seed. All of my gardening seeds are probably 20 years old, but you know what? They still will grow. Seeds want to grow. It doesn't matter how old they get, as long as they've been, in a climate controlled area, you should be fine. You won't get the germination that you would from like brand new seeds, but they'll still germinate. Enough of them will germinate that you can have some food from them. And you've already spent that money, so what does it hurt to try to plant them? Yeah, we this is what's got us though, Vicky. We see, I had a Buick Lucerne, and then we bought another Buick Lucerne. This was back when I was working and we had, plenty of money because I was doing a management job, and, we had enough money that we could each have a car. And then my mother-in-law um, helped us get the truck that we have. um we find that we really need a truck, so the truck usually just sits in the driveway until we need it, or I need to go somewhere, which is very rare. I rarely leave the house anymore. I go outside and walk around in the yard, but I don't walk anywhere. There's too many loose vicious dogs. So I used to walk all the way around this neighborhood, but I just don't feel safe doing that anymore. So that's my excuse for not walking. Um, but we had the two cars, and then the transmission. Mine was really like a 2006, and it needed a transmission because I had driven that car to New York by myself and back. I went up for a class reunion. I traveled to North Carolina to do store resets. I had driven to Atlanta in it for training. I had put some miles on that car, and it needed the transmission. So we replaced the transmission, didn't fix it. So we finally let Greg use that car as his trade in to get his little Scion. But then Scott's car started acting up. So we bought a transmission for that. So that was two transmissions in 1 year. That's $4,000 just in transmissions. But since we got his transmission fixed and redone, it's been okay. It's had I don't know what it's called. When you turn the wheel and it's cold outside, this light will pop up. There's some kind of little sensor inside the steering shaft, I think, and that needed to be replaced. So right now it's in there getting everything fixed. we told him just get it so where it doesn't leak, because Scott had been putting in a quart of oil in just about every week. So yeah, it needed to go in the shop, but we've got to make this baby through at least until Scott can get some of his retirement. Um, he'll start being able to draw some of his retirement money next year. So if we can get through to next year, even, that would be great. What else do we have going on? My mother, okay, I don't know if you guys, the AT&T Uverse wireless phone stuff, I don't know what it is, but my mother-in-law's phone will periodically, the wireless for her phones will click off for no apparent reason. Let me get this. So my brother-in-law called me yesterday because he couldn't reach his mom, and Scott's mom is 95. And so we always fear when we can't reach her, you know, I, yeah, it's always kind of scary going to check and see if she's okay. But she was fine. She was having a little bit of trouble getting around yesterday, but her phone wasn't working. So I did the whole unplug the router, wait a few minutes, plug it back in, wait 6 minutes to see if it'll click back on. It never did anything. And my brother-in-law, he couldn't get there right away and he was worried. So I got Greg to drive me over there yesterday because I don't have a car. She lives in this same neighborhood. I could walk over there in about 15 minutes. I could be at her house if I was walking. But Greg said he would drive me over there. So we went over, tried everything. Then I called David and I said, that's my brother-in-law. I said, I cannot get this phone to work. Nothing is working. I've done the whole reset, everything. So he said he was on his way there, that his appointment never showed up. That was the whole reason he couldn't get there right away, is he had that appointment. And he waited for that woman for 45 minutes. She didn't call. She didn't show up. So he said, I'm on my way to Mother's. So we passed in the driveway. He was coming in as we were backing out. And he said he would look at it and then he would look through her file and try to find all of the paperwork, password and everything, to try to get in contact with them to see if they could send somebody out to get her phone working. She has to have a phone. Now we pay for her to have a cell phone, but she doesn't keep it with her. We told her, I said, you could just put this in your pocket and just keep it with you. I just leave it there on the table. I said, well, what if you fall? If you had the cell phone in your pocket, you could pull it out and call one of us. I guess you got a point, but she won't do it. She won't do it. So that's the long story about that cell phone. And the sun is up. I've got to go get mowing before it's 100 degrees. It's supposed to be 91 today, but it always feels hotter than that here. And that's all I have for the Project Dress a Girl dresses. They're coming along. Next week, I should have several made similar to this one here. But some of them will have that great big pocket that's on the front of that dress. And you sew in a couple areas, so it's like 3 little pockets. So I'm looking forward to doing that. So I will let you guys go, and I've said so a lot. I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.